Okay, I've been online for a while, and I'm also a trans woman, and so I feel like it's my duty to speak on this a little bit.
And mine, because I am also a trans woman.
Yeah.
That is also online.
Yeah, I need to give a very, very what I perceive to be a soft critique, but when I think a lot of people are going to see as a more harsh critique of the trans media network online. This is particularly a problem on Blue Sky, but I have also seen it on Instagram and on Facebook. And I want to start off...
A large part of it was developed and introduced initially on Twitter.
On Twitter, yeah. And I want to front load this with the easier stuff to talk about, which is, guys, we got to stop giving attention to the trans online like content mills. We got to stop with the trans content mills online. I'm going to start with this one. This one's from a Facebook page called Queer Connect. And the reason I bring this up is because there is a huge problem online with, and this is with every group, but especially in the queer community, there's a huge problem online with these content mills that just keep pushing out engagement bait pictures and articles that serve to do one of two things: either do toxic positivity or be alarmist. In this case, in the case of Queer Connect, they lean a little bit more towards the toxic positivity than toward the alarmism. But the real reason I bring them up is because the AI generated content is like all over the place in this Facebook page.
It's real bad. It's real bad.
I am pretty confident that this image here is AI generated. I know that I'm like 99.98% confident that the description that I did not capture here is AI generated.
Yeah, it looks like AI slop.
It looks like AI slop. Here is another example of this one.
This may or may not be a real person, but it has an AI filter over it.
Yeah, at the very least. These two, I'm not exactly like completely confident. You know, there could be the descriptions most definitely are AI generated. Tell me if you think this one's AI generated. I'll give you a second to figure it out. Chat, do we think this is AI generated?
Like, I get that extra hand is a weird Photoshop. But also the hair is just, what the hell is going on there?
And the rainbow everything. And the 3 books titled Queer Literature that I'm pretty sure are misspelled. This is kind of a critique of rainbow capitalism a little bit, because I think that rainbow capitalism is what ultimately drives people to do this a little bit. I think it's more that like this is opportunists from people who are looking for quick, cheap, and easy ways to make money on social media.
Yeah, this might actually just be a queer person who is looking for an opportunity to make some quick cash by setting up an AI bot.
Yeah.
To generate and post the weirdest clickbaity headlines possible.
But now we got to talk about other pages on Facebook that I also think are kind of content mills. I don't think that they're AI slop, to be perfectly clear.
Hi, Rain.
I do think that this is a content mill, and I do think that they lean into the alarmism category of the online queer content mills. Trans Army is a pretty popular Facebook page that posts shit like this. Now,
it is a gigantic Facebook page.
It is a gigantic Facebook page. Now, I want to say perfectly like clear, everything in this article that they've shared might be 100% true. I don't know. To draw light to this, and why I say that this is alarmist is because this is what they shared, is the image of this article's headline. There is no way of knowing where this article comes from in the image itself. It's just the headline. If you want to find that out, I'm not saying it's impossible for you to figure it out. You can type in the article title into Google and probably find it really quickly. But there's no way to like know for certain where this is coming from. And oftentimes, I didn't get the screenshot here, oftentimes they don't post the article in the comments, which I will already tell you is the bare minimum to share the article with the post that you're making, the screenshot of it. But they often, if they do it, they'll do it in the comments.
Which is,
if
you're going to do it anyway, that is probably the worst way.
Yes. Because nobody's going to go to the comments to look for the article, which means all they're going to see is this.
Trans Army banned me on Facebook. Yeah.
This, I think, functions as alarmism, because what you're seeing is this Trump's new FBI budget targets LGBTQ terrorists to combat gender extremism. Again, everything in this article could be right. I'm not saying it isn't. But with no context, with no way to view the article for yourself besides having to actively go through and search for the article.
This does nothing but raise alarm bells without context or just general information.
Yeah, it just causes fear with people. Here's another example. This one. Trump is about to drop a nuclear weapon on trans youth healthcare. Again, no indication of where this article is from. I think I recognize like the way that this is laid out, so I'm pretty sure like you could probably figure it out from there. But there is no indication of where this article is from. It just shows this. And there's only 2 comments, and I verified. They did put an article in the comments. The article was not this one. It's actually from the ACLU. And you can see that the article headline is different because it's less inflammatory and less alarmist. It doesn't create the same alarm bells for the trans community that this headline does.
It doesn't create the clicks and reactions for the page.
Yes. At the risk of ruffling some feathers with this, the main thing that I'm going to be talking about here is Aaron Reed. Because Aaron Reed is, I believe, to be both the most successful and the most visible person in this media landscape that does reporting for trans news and for trans people.
Which is extremely important and extremely useful.
Yes.
When it is done correctly.
And it's not that Aaron is bad at what she does. In fact, she's really good. She's a really good writer. She's really on top of being able to report things. However, I get a feeling that Erin writes a lot more than she researches. And there's some reasons for that. You know, there's just too much going on to be able to cover everything completely accurately all the time. I don't fault people for occasionally making mistakes. And I'm not saying that Aaron Reed constantly is making mistakes. I've only verified a few of them. But Aaron Reed's articles and people in this same media landscape often write articles that are designed to scare trans people about everything. And I'm not saying we have to pretend that everything is fine and dandy. I'm not saying that we don't recognize that things are bad and that we're in the midst of the Republican Party attempting a genocide on the trans community and of the UK government attempting a genocide on the trans community. I'm not saying that we don't acknowledge those things. But journalists have an obligation to report truth. And they also, while they need to be willing to tell you how bad something is, that's the key. They need to tell you how bad it is, the scope, the scale. If they just tell you that everything sucks all the time, all it does is lead you into despair.
And part of telling you how bad it is giving you the context of when it started being bad, like what exactly is bad about it, what we can do differently to change the outcome.
Yes. I want to bring up a few articles of Aaron Reed's that I'm going to showcase as my examples for this, okay? The US government is engaged in a modern Red Scare and WPATH is its latest target. I have read through this article, and pretty much most of everything is correct. The framing of this, however, is designed to give a different image in your head than where we are actually at. It conjures the image of the Red Scare, which was a lot more in depth than what we have seen yet. I'm not saying they're not intending to do a Red Scare.
It is what they want more than anything.
Calling it a Red Scare is giving people a different impression than what is actually happening. Newly released Texas GOP platform calls for ban on trans teachers and trans care under 26 years old. This one is also one I've read through. Like it all checks out.
And like that headline is technically correct.
But it is framed to try to scare you with how bad everything is. What do you think the last paragraph in this article says? If you were guessing many of these provisions are not new, you would be correct. That's because they're not. I'm not saying don't report this. I'm saying
yes,
we should be talking about it not as if it's a new thing, but as if it's a continuation of an ongoing thing. Because it continues to put people in fight or flight. It continues to put people in states where they think that it's constantly getting worse and getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and they're coming for you and they're coming for your family and they're coming to get you now, now, now.
That information in that last paragraph should have been the first words on the page.
Yes. And then there is Aaron's reporting about Zoran Mamdani. I don't know if you have been tuned into this, and I've been seeing it, an unfortunate amount of it from a lot of people, that Aaron has been kind of on a tirade, as it were, against Zoran Mamdani, and kind of encouraging the people who follow her. I was even part of this earlier in the year, because it's only been in the last few months that I've kind of realized all of this stuff, where Aaron advocated for Mamdani to win because he was hugely supportive of trans people. And then basically like 3 minutes went by after he won, and all of her reporting on him has been to criticize him for not doing things that he doesn't have the legal ability to do, and for some things that are actually already being done, but that take time, and for some things that are already being done at the state level, and thus Mamdani does not have the ability to do himself.
And like, now, the main criticism seems to be that he's not talking about things like 24/7 about these issues when he's doing his job as mayor.
Yes.
To facilitate those things.
And there is an issue that comes with this type of reporting where if you are expecting the mayor of New York to do more, okay, that's fair. I think it's okay. I think it's good to criticize Mamdani for not doing enough. I think that this specifically is kind of bad. I bring this article up not because this one in particular is bad. I actually, when I was reading through it, it's one of the more defensible ones because, funny enough, a lot of people I saw saying, well, it's dishonest to call this Mamdani's trans direct claim. Well, it's his guy that he's appointed. So, I mean, to me, it's no different than when RFK does something, we still tie it to the Trump administration. And they are actually denying care to those under 19, which is complying in advance, which is the same thing that they have been criticizing NYU Langone for doing. And the thing that they're under investigation by the Human Rights Committee for doing. So I think that this one is defensible. But what she has done in the following months leading up to this is to criticize Mamdani for not doing things that is not within his purview or his power. He cannot levy fines against the hospital if they're not breaking the law. And also if the Human Rights Commission is not, like, actually investigating it, which they are. They are, and they just haven't finished the investigation. Now, we can criticize them for taking too long, but that investigation has actually been going on since before Mamdani took office. I don't want our leftist politicians to turn into dictators, and I don't think you should either. And I think that the kind of reporting that Aaron Reed does functions as alarmism, and oftentimes that leads to her making really sloppy mistakes. Honestly, I think we could solve this if Aaron had people who actually, I don't know, lived or was active in New York politics, writing for her site. I've seen her have other people write on her site before.
If she's supported or called out or boosted, maybe not for her site directly, but just on Blue Sky or whatever platform she's on, other people that are doing the same thing as her in those areas that have that expertise.
I'm not saying that we need to pretend everything is like sunshine and rainbows, because it's not.
Like I said, what she is doing is important. It is necessary to track and to maintain records and call out these issues.
I don't think that she's intentionally doing that. I do think that some of what she writes leads to that effect. It's the same reason why we criticized Tara Knight. You know, the woman who faked the FBI letter and got people into a tizzy about like the FBI coming to hurt trans people in their homes. Obviously, that one is on the like more extreme end of the scale. And I'm not saying that what Erin Reed is doing is equivalent to that by any means. But I do think that any of the reporting that she does in a vacuum is necessarily bad, but it's the continued nature of the alarmism will cause people's mental health to spiral. And to some degree, it is our responsibility. Like Erin Reed reports what she does, and it is still our responsibility to engage or not engage based on where our mental health is actually at.
Like, I want her to keep doing what she's doing, but she just needs to be more responsibility with framing.
Yeah. She just needs to do it better. I think oftentimes the people in the space, and I'm using Erin Reed as the example. I'm not.
We don't hate her.
I don't hate her.
We don't want her to stop doing it.
Yeah. And I'm not using her as the framework because I want to target her specifically. It's because if I tried to talk about every single person in the space that does the same thing that she does, the conversation would go like this. Oh, this person is doing this, this, and this, which is really similar to what Erin Reed, a vastly more successful and vastly more visible person doing this type of work, has also like done in the past. And so it's not because Erin Reed specifically is uniquely like problematic for doing this. There are other people in the space that do. It's just that Erin Reed, I think, is the most visible.
She has the most points of contact where people will recognize what she does, how she does it, and be able to see the parallels in everyone else.
I'm not going to be one of those people who are like, you should block Erin Reed or you should never like listen to her stuff. In fact, I think you should listen to her stuff, but I think like the conversation that we had earlier about AI should be done responsibly. And what I want is for people in her sphere to be more responsible with how they report these things. Because it's not about reporting things and sugarcoating it. It's about not making it out like the end of the world is happening. There was another incident that happened where Erin Reed did tell people, like she wrote an article about the trans passport issue, right? And wrote an article telling everyone, hey, a judge has like blocked this, but for the plaintiffs in this case. So if you're trans and you're looking to like get your passport updated, don't do it until they make it available to everyone and not just people involved in the case. And then when that happened, to her credit, she did inform people about it. And she told them, hey, do it now if you want to do it. And here's how you can do it. The problem is that in doing so, and I watched her video when she did it. She told everyone, if you're going to do it though, they are going to put you on a list. If you want to do it, you can do it, and here's how. But if you do it, they're going to put you on a list. I don't know why I have to say this, but like, if you're trans and you've gotten your documents changed, you're on the list. Your information is already being collected. It's already there. My state, my home state, started doing it. And so telling people they're going to put you on a list, the implication there is
the paper trail is already there to link you to your previous identities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have built up decades and decades and decades of systems to make that possible. There's a reason your records follow you for life. The reason debtors will follow you for your entire life to squeeze every last penny they can out of you.
Yep. And so telling people, well, you can do this, but if you do, they're going to put you on a list. For one, you're already on the list. For two, the implication there is that you probably shouldn't do it if you don't want to be on that list. And you don't want to be on that list, do you?
And that's what we're talking about with the fear-mongering.
That's what I'm talking about with the fear-mongering. Is I'm sure a lot of people heard that and then did not get their passports updated when they could have, before the Supreme Court made it impossible. And now they can't. And I'm not saying that all of that is on Erin Reed's shoulders. What I'm saying is that her actions have consequences, and sometimes Those are going to be the consequences. Sure, she may not be personally responsible for every single person who didn't get their ID updated on their passport.
But this is the same issue with people that advocated against voting Democrat in the most recent US election.
Yeah. Because now we're here and we got all of the shit that we were hoping we wouldn't get anyway. And what do we have to show for it? All of the fear did nothing but make things worse. Again, I don't want anyone to harass Aaron Reed. If you're watching this and you enjoy Aaron Reed's content or any of the transmedia newscapes content
or other
media, you should support it. And I think that Aaron Reed does generally good work. I think that she is a good writer. She's a good interviewer. She knows what she's doing, but it's because she knows what she's doing that I want her to do it better. Because we deserve to have it done better. Because what we don't need is we don't need toxic positivity. We don't need to be told that everything is sunshine and rainbows and that there's nothing wrong and that we should put our heads in the sand and that we should let everything blow over. We also don't need to be told
it's the end of the world.
It's the end of the world. There's no hope. They're coming for you now. They're going to take you. They're going to kill you. They're going to kill your family. And I'm not saying that Aaron Reed is literally doing that. But
she's leading to the thought process that people that are already close to there are being pushed over the edge.
And like a lot of Aaron Reed's content is really good. It's usually when she's hyping up Zoe, but
I mean, we stan a wife gal. Like,
yeah, we do stan a wife gal. And I don't want her to only do that. Obviously, I want her to report on more things. I just want her to do it more responsibly because I think I've witnessed the effect personally of people becoming more and more doomer and more suicidal and more feeling like nothing matters because they keep embedding themselves in this type of content. And Aaron Reed is part of that. I've been part of it myself. Oh, no, it is not just you, Rain. It is not just you. It is so many other people that I have known. It was happening a couple of years ago. We don't have to name any names because that's a whole different story. But it was happening, and it still happens. And this is not an Aaron Reed is a bad person, fuck her, go like harass her, anything like that. In fact, if I see a single one of you harassing her, you will be banned from this chat, from my Discord community, and I will block you on all platforms. You should not. Remember that all of these people are people, and they are not themselves their content. Aaron Reed, I think, I get the impression that she's a decent person, that she just wants to do right by the trans community.
She wants to do something, anything to help.
She wants to give back. And I think in a lot of ways she has. But the price of success is playing the game. And part of the game is that outrage gets more clicks. And if not outrage, then despair. I'm not saying that Aaron Reed is literally the same thing as misinformation on Facebook, but she contributes to the same overall pipeline. The same overall pipeline that leads people into despair and into doomerism and suicidality, and I don't want to see more of that. And I think it's worth calling out.
This is a criticism to help guide the community in a way that we can grow and be better.
Yeah. And I mean, to be clear, I'm making this critique because it's something that I've seen, not because I think that Aaron is actually going to watch this and do anything. Like, she's not going to see this.
Every one of us could one day go viral and have a platform at least as large as hers.
Yeah. And I've already contributed to the problem, by the way. I want to be perfectly clear about that. I have also contributed to this problem in the past. I have posted a lot of doomer stuff. Now, I have tried to circumvent it a little bit by posting more positive takes online. And I think that I've done an okay job at that, but I don't know. You might disagree. And if you do, that's okay. I'm willing to take that critique. It's because I've done that. It's because I've been part of that problem that I know firsthand why. Because let me peel back behind the curtains a little bit as somebody, who's been doing this for been doing YouTube for a couple of years and who kind of went semi-viral in a couple of niche communities that I'm kind of no longer a part of.
For very specific topics.
For very specific topics. Whenever I make any video about trans people, it does really poorly overall compared to the rest of my politics videos.
Unless...
And that's because, by the way, most of my community is from Vasha's community.
Unless she's critiquing.
Unless I'm critiquing.
Or drama mongering.
Or unless I'm drama mongering. But if the video itself is about trans topics specifically, trans news, it really isn't going to do as well as the rest of the channel. If the video is about trans news, but it's, oh no, look at the bad things that are happening, it does marginally better than the videos about trans topics that are positive.
We need more trans positivity, but it does not do well.
Yeah. And there has to be a balance. Sharing good stories is good. Sharing bad stories is important, but it's about the framing. And if all we're doing it is to harness that fear in order to get more exposure, because that's the tendency. I noticed that early on. Well, my videos about trans stuff don't get views unless it's discourse or unless it's like bad news for the trans community, in which case then it gets marginally better views.
And like, don't get us wrong, this video, we are framing it as a critique because we know that will do better.
Yeah. And also, even though we're saying it's a critique, people are going to take it as drama, even though that's not what my intention is. But I noticed early on with those videos that they do better. And so that tendency has always been there to just talk about the bad shit. Be a megaphone for all of the horrible stuff that's going on, because people deserve to know, right? We deserve to be informed about what's going on. We need to know the bad shit that's going on. We need to know that it's bad. And then the tendency creeps in to say, well, people don't know exactly how bad it is. So we kind of got to ramp up what we say to get people to hear us, to listen to us. And then the tendency creeps in to make really inflammatory thumbnails to get all of the attention and to get people to engage and click and share, and then tell you how horrible it is and that they're coming for your kids and they want you dead and they're gonna...
Fear-mongering drama content will get you a large burst of interaction when you start.
But it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable long term. You will never grow past a middling minor audience. It is a poison pill.
And on the off chance that you do grow beyond a minor audience, if you're in the space where what you're doing is talking about the news and talking about all the bad shit, you're incentivized to continue talking about the bad shit and to continue saying how bad it is and that it's really bad and that it's actually worse than you think and that it's actually really, 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 really bad, guys. And for some people that might be motivating. That might be motivating to get out there and do like work and activism. And for those of you who it is, I applaud you. You should get out there and do that. But a lot of people are going to doom. They're going to hear it and they're going to realize the world's fucked up and they're going to say, well, nothing matters, I guess, because it's all going down. Everything sucks. Everything's bad and nothing matters anymore. So what does it matter for me? And that's how they get you. So yeah, I say all of this to say, please don't go hating on Erin Reed. I'm not telling you that you need to harass her or block her or do anything. I'm not saying that you shouldn't even read her articles. There are good pieces of information that come from them, but you need to be critical about them and you need to understand that it's not always as bad as it's trying to make you feel.
Engage responsibly.
For the people who are in this space, for the people who are wanting to be journalists or who are journalists or who are doing this work, keep doing it. Don't fall into the trap. Do it responsibly because we're all depending on it.
Front load the context.
That's all I got.